They said their husbands travel, but at night their mouths poured money instead of breath. In the heart of Okirika village, life moved to the rhythm of women's footsteps. From sunrise till the sun bent low, they were the ones you saw in the farm's backs bent, babies tied to their waists, sweat glistening on their foreheads. They dug, planted, and harvested, while the men sat under mango trees, cups of palm wine in hand, gossiping and laughing like kings without a kingdom. To the men of Okirika, hard work was a woman's crown. They believed their only duties were to eat, sleep, gossip, and make babies. To them, that was life. They said a woman's back was made for work. A man's back was made for rest. If any woman dared complain, her husband would remind her, "You should thank God you have a man to cook for. Some women don't see husbands to marry." So the women worked, fetched water, farmed, cooked, raised children, and the men simply existed. That was the way it had always been in Okirika village, until the day she arrived. The woman in black, she came on a dusty afternoon, walking down the long market road with a black bag in her hand. Her wrapper and blouse were made from thick black fabric that shimmered faintly under the light. Her head tie sat high and neat, and her shoes were shiny enough to reflect the sun. No one had ever seen a woman like her before. Her skin looked smooth like rain on polished wood, and her eyes were so sharp that even the loudest market women fell silent when she passed. She didn't bargain for prices like the rest of them. She bought yam, oil, fish, and palm wine, and she paid double. By evening, everyone in the market was talking about her. Who is she? Where did she come from? Is she married? Before nightfall, they had an answer to at least one question. She had already bought 5 plots of land and was planning to build. Within weeks, a mansion rose where bushes once grew white walls that glittered in the sun, iron gates painted gold, glass windows that reflected the sky. The people said it was the biggest house in Okirika village. Soon after, new cars appeared at her gate, black ones, always black. And every evening she came out dressed in black silk or lace, standing at her balcony to watch the sunset. She was beautiful, mysterious, and rich. So the villagers gave her a name, the Woman in Black. Men started whispering about her under the mango tree. "Ah, that woman is so beautiful. If she agrees to marry me, I will never touch cutlass again. You? She'll use you to wash her car before she even greets you," another man whispered. They laughed, but their laughter was mixed with greed. The women whispered too, but their tone was bitter. "A widow that rich? What did she do?" one asked. "Every day she wears black. Maybe she's mourning her husband's money, not his death," another replied. They had gathered beside the stream, pounding cassava. The air smelled of smoke and sweat. As they talked, the pestles slowed, and their voices dropped to sharp whispers. "Look at us," Mama Chioma muttered, her wrapper soaked with mud. "We have husbands, yet we can't even buy a common wrapper to wear. And a widow, look at how rich she is." She struck the pestle into the mortar with a dull thump. "I'm tired of farming, tired of taking beating from my husband every night, all in the name of marriage. I think we should go and meet her, make friends with her. Maybe she'll help us get rich too." The others froze. "Meet her?" a daisy hissed. "That kind of woman? I'm not sure she can make friends with poor people like us. Can't you see her house? Her cars? Even her slippers look expensive." She wiped her face with the edge of her wrapper. "Let's not disgrace ourselves in front of her, please." "I'm not going." Another woman dropped her pestle and sighed. "There's no harm in trying, my sister. Or are you not tired of this suffering? We work while our men sit and enjoy our sweat." "Exactly," Mama Chioma said quickly, her eyes bright with frustration. "We should try our luck. She looks friendly." But still no one moved. The pounding stopped completely. The only sound left was the rustle of palm leaves and the faint cry of a baby somewhere in the distance. "You go first," one of the women finally murmured. "If she welcomes you, then we'll follow." For a moment, silence sat between them like a heavy stone. Even the stream seemed to pause its flow. But what they didn't know was that the husband they thought dead was not gone at all. To the world, she was a widow, but in truth, the men she had married over the years were all still inside her house, trapped in their own silence, making her rich. Every night, she would walk into a dark room at the end of the hallway, a room no one else was allowed to enter. The air there was always cold, and the windows were covered with thick black curtains. Inside, her husband sat weak and pale, their eyes dull, their bodies thin. They could not talk, could not move, could only obey. She would light a black candle, whisper strange chants, and as her voice rose, the room would shake softly. The men's bodies trembled, and from their mouths poured what she desired most: money. Plenty of money. Over the years, she had married 3 men. All 3 of them remained inside her mansion, her hidden treasure, her source, her secret. She called them her ATM machines. And when the villagers saw her drive through the market, they bowed and said, "Truly, some people are born blessed." But they didn't know what her blessing cost. She never told anyone how she became so rich, and no one was brave enough to ask. Days turned into weeks, and curiosity began to grow like weeds after rain. Everywhere, women gathered by the stream, under the mango tree, in the market. They talked about her. They spoke of her perfume that lingered in the air long after she passed, of her cars that shone even under dust, and of her gold bangles that jingled when she raised her hands to wave. But none of them had ever stepped inside her house. One afternoon, as the sun sank lazily behind the palm trees, Mama Chioma sat on a rock beside her small farm, staring at her rough hands. Her fingers were cracked, her wrapper torn, and her back ached from bending all day. She remembered her husband's loud snore, his lazy smile, and the sting of his insults. Tears rolled down her dusty cheeks. "God, am I not a woman too?" she whispered. "Why do I suffer like this while that widow lives like a queen?" That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mind played the same thought again and again. Maybe the woman in black could help her. Before dawn, she made up her mind. When morning came, Mama Chioma bathed quickly and wore her best wrapper, red with white flowers. She tied her headscarf neatly and began walking toward the woman in black's mansion. Her heart beat fast, her palms wet with fear. The road to the house was quiet. Birds sang, but the air around the mansion felt strangely cold. The high white and black fence gleamed under the sun, and the gold gate stood tall, locked, with 2 black statues on both sides, tall women holding bowls that never filled. She hesitated at the gate, looking around to see if anyone was watching. Then she whispered, "Good morning, Ma," not sure if she was talking to the statues or to the woman she hoped would hear her. Suddenly, the gate opened slowly on its own. The noise was low and deep, like a sigh. Mama Chioma gasped, but stepped inside. When the main door opened, the woman in black stood there, beautiful as ever, wrapped in a flowing black gown that shimmered like oil in sunlight. She smiled gently. "You've been standing outside for a while," she said softly. "Come in, Mama Chioma." Mama Chioma froze. She hadn't told anyone her name. You know me?" she stammered. "I know everyone who carries pain," the woman replied calmly. "Come inside." Mama Chioma followed slowly, her bare feet echoing against the marble floor. The woman in black sat gracefully and motioned for her to sit too. "Tell me," she said, "why have you come?" Mama Chioma's eyes filled with tears. "I am tired," she said. "My husband drinks all day. He calls me useless. I work like an animal, but I have nothing. My children are hungry. Please, help me. I don't want to suffer anymore." The woman listened quietly, then leaned back, crossing her legs elegantly. "Do you truly want a better life?" "Yes," Mama Chioma whispered. "And are you ready to do what others fear to do?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Yes." The woman in black smiled slow, knowing. "Then go home," she said, reaching for a small glass jar of salt. "Take this salt. Use it to cook your husband's favorite meal tonight. Don't argue, don't complain, just feed him. After that, come back here tomorrow before sunrise." Mama Chioma wanted to ask how food could change her life, but the woman's eyes silenced her. "Do as I say," the woman said softly, "and your suffering will end." That night, Mama Chioma cooked carefully rice, stew, and goat meat. Her husband ate like a king, smiling for the first time in weeks. She watched him closely, her heart racing, but nothing strange happened. When he finished eating, she quietly packed the plates, washed them, and lay down beside him, whispering to herself, "Maybe tomorrow my life will change." Before dawn, she was already on her way back to the mansion. The gate opened again, as if waiting for her. When she entered the house, the woman in black was waiting, already dressed, her lips painted red. "You did well," she said. "Now, from this day, your life will not remain the same." Mama Chioma swallowed hard. "But how?" she asked. The woman in black smiled faintly. "There are things you should never ask," she said. "Just enjoy your blessings." Mama Chioma thanked her quietly and left. That night, as she and her husband slept, she woke up to a strange sound. The sound of paper fluttering. When she lit her lantern, her heart almost stopped. Bundles of money were spilling out from her husband's mouth, fresh, clean notes falling to the floor, one after another. He was breathing weakly, his eyes half open, his lips trembling. She froze, too shocked to move. The money kept coming until it covered the mat. Then suddenly, he went still. Mama Chioma stared at him, trembling, tears running down her face. Then slowly, she reached out and touched the money. It was real money. From that night, Mama Chioma's life changed forever. By morning, Mama Chioma's room looked like a dream. The mat was covered with fresh notes. Her basket overflowed with more. She tied them in cloth and hid them quickly before the neighbors woke up. When her husband finally opened his eyes, he looked weak and confused, as if he had no memory of what had happened. That week, Mama Chioma stopped going to the farm. She bought 2 new wrappers, a gold necklace, and a pair of fine slippers. At the market, she paid for everything without bargaining. The women stared. The men whispered, "Is that not Mama Chioma? How did she get rich overnight?" Did the woman in black help her? Before long, stories began to spread. By the 3rd day, the men under the mango tree noticed her husband hadn't shown up. 5 days now, we haven't seen our friend, one said. When they finally asked Mama Chioma, she didn't blink. "I don't know where he went," she said softly, eyes sad. "I think he has abandoned me." The line worked. People pitied her. Soon the other women grew restless. They watched her move through the market in lace and perfume, while their own clothes smelled of sweat and smoke. One evening, Adeze finally said, "I can't suffer like this again. I will go and see the woman in black myself." The next day she went, and by the following week, she too had stopped coming to the farm. She wore new clothes, spoke softly, and walked with pride. That was how it began. One by one, the women of Okirika went to the woman in black's mansion. Each came back richer than before, while their husbands sit inside making them money. Within a few months, the change in Okirika village was unbelievable. Everywhere you turned, women were suddenly shining new wrappers, new jewelry, new confidence. They no longer rushed to the farms at sunrise. They walked slowly through the market, buying things they didn't even need. Whenever people asked, they said the same thing. My husband traveled, he abandoned me. I'm alone now. But little did the villagers know that those husbands were not gone at all. They were inside the houses, locked away, weak and silent, making their wives rich. Even the village chief became worried. He called a meeting at the square and asked in a trembling voice, "Where are our men going? What kind of power rules this village now?" But no one had an answer. Okirika village, once known for women sweating under the sun while their husbands drank palm wine, had changed completely. Now it was the women who were enjoying life. The farms grew quiet. The market became a place of laughter and perfume. Every week, they went to the woman in black's mansion for meetings. They dressed in fine black lace, wore gold bangles, and spoke softly, their voices full of pride. Inside those meetings, the woman in black would sit like a queen, her face calm, her smile dangerous. She even showed them her 3 men locked inside her house, their bodies weak, their eyes dull. "These," she said, "are my husbands. They don't deserve my love or pity." The women gasped, but she continued, her voice sharp and confident. "Tell me, how can a man sit and watch his wife suffer in the sun while he drinks, eats, and makes babies? Don't regret what you've done. They all deserve it." The women nodded eagerly. They believed her. They wore any wrapper they wanted, bought what they desired, and lived like queens in a land where men once ruled. But outside the mansion, fear grew. Men whispered that every time a woman became rich, her husband would soon travel or abandon her. Some grew so frightened that they packed their things and fled the village, running to neighboring towns. Still, the women didn't care. They laughed louder, spent more, and followed the woman in black with total devotion. To them, it was finally their time to live the life they deserved. Soon, the news of what was happening in Okirika village spread like wildfire across many towns. People said it was no longer an ordinary place, that the women there had become too rich, too powerful, while the men were disappearing one after another. Soon, pastors began to arrive. They traveled from far and near, holding crusades, fasting, and praying for the men and the people of Okirika. But no matter how much they prayed or fasted, nothing changed. The women were too powerful. They chanted and mocked every pastor that came into the village. Whenever the preachers tried to pray, the women would lift their voices, singing strange songs and clapping their hands loudly until the men of God left in fear. Their power kept growing. Their laughter filled the air. Their cars lined the streets like trophies. No one could stop them, not even the pastors who later vowed never to step foot in Okirika again. Then, one fateful rainy day, a very powerful pastor came. He was calm, tall, and firm. He had heard the stories how other pastors came and fled in fear, yet he came boldly to preach. He gathered the people at the village square and said softly, "I am not here to blame anyone. I am only here to tell you the truth." He looked around the crowd at the proud women and the few trembling men and continued, "Men, you are also the cause of your own problems. You became lazy and selfish. You left your wives to carry the weight of the home while you sat and drank palm wine. You let greed and pride destroy your families. He turned to the women. And you, women, you allowed pain to turn you into monsters. You forgot love and replaced it with money. You forgot that power without kindness leads to destruction. It is time to repent. It is time to love again. Men, learn to help your wives. Wives, forgive and change. Now kneel down. Let me pray for you. As he began to pray, a loud wind blew through the village. Thunder rolled across the sky. The ground shook beneath their feet. The money-making husbands, trapped in secret dark rooms, began to wake. One after another, they came out crying and coughing, calling their wives' names. The women screamed and wept, falling to their knees, begging for forgiveness. The pastor prayed harder. "Lord, set them free," he shouted. And just like that, the power that held the men broke. The women's black dresses tore at the edges. Their jewelry fell to the ground. Some fainted, some cried, and some ran home to destroy everything that tied them to the woman in black. But the woman in black herself stood at the window of her mansion, watching. She screamed in anger, her voice echoing across the palm trees. Lightning flashed, and the ground beneath her house cracked open. In one blinding moment, the woman in black disappeared, gone with the wind. From that day, peace returned to Okirika village. The men went back to farming. The women cooked, worked, and lived in unity again. The people learned to love, to forgive, and to help one another. But it was said that the woman in black did not die. People believe she still moves around cities, towns, and schools looking for new members, new women to deceive. So even now, whenever someone grows rich overnight, the elders of Okirika still whisper one warning. Be careful, the woman in black is still out there. Laziness breeds disaster. When men abandon their duty, they leave space for darkness to rule the home. Tell me, where are you watching from? And what do you think about the mysterious women of Okirika village? Share your thoughts in the comments. I love reading them. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more shocking African stories every week. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe. See you soon.